Hello everybody, welcome back to another video, and today we're talking the Thunderbolts with spoilers. That's right, we're diving into full spoilers, and we're spoiling everything. So if you have not seen this movie yet, click away, come back after you've seen it, because we will dive into some heavy spoilers. So if you've already seen it, stick around. If not, go watch it right now. Stop waiting. Go see it. Check whatever local theater showtimes for Thunderbolts. Watch it, and as soon as you're out of the theater, watch this video. Unless you don't care about spoilers, but I mean you should. Even though Marvel themselves is spoiling some things on the internet already. But that's okay, I guess. So we'll dive into it. I'll give you 4 more seconds to click away. Now let's dive into some spoilers. Yes, this is my custom Yelena back from 2021 when Black Widow released, and I created her for that review. Yeah, alright. So first off, let me just start by saying I lied to you. We are not going to talk about the Thunderbolts now that people who haven't seen the movie are gone. The truth is, this is my spoiler review for the new Avengers. That's right. Here we go. Let's talk about the new Avengers, not Thunderbolts. Just kidding. You thought we were going to talk about Thunderbolts. We're actually talking about the new Avengers. All right, but in all seriousness, we'll talk about that close to the end because that's when they got revealed in the movie. So let's start where the movie starts, with Yelena on top of a tall building. Which you're also, bear with me, I haven't done a full spoiler review, I don't think, since Deadpool & Wolverine, so we'll see how this goes. But we start with Yelena narrating as she's on top of the building, and she jumps off, Florence Pugh actually did this, by the way, in case you don't know. Florence Pugh actually went on the tallest or second tallest building in the world and jumps off it for this scene, which is just crazy and awesome. And then this whole scene is really cool with her using her parachute. She lands, she takes out some bad guys, and we find out that this narration is her talking to one of the guards that she took hostage, tied them up, duct taped their mouth, which was funny. Comes across a guinea pig. And when she leaves the building, I love that she's actually holding the guinea pig that she saw in the building, and then she blows up the building. That was really fun. First of all, starting off with the cool action scene and her saving the adorable guinea pig, I just thought was hilarious and awesome. We get some stuff with Bucky as a congressman now, which some people have problems with. I didn't really mind it, but to me, it was probably the least interesting part about the movie. It's like, I'm not sure how much I care about this legal stuff, but about them trying to take down Val. Whoops, I'm sorry, I mean Valentina. Don't call her Val, she doesn't like that. And make sure you pronounce the duh in Da Fontaine also, so now we know. I think this could have been done a bit better and a bit more interesting. I don't really consider it a negative like some people have, but to me it could have been more interesting, but I still didn't mind it. And then we move on. This is where we eventually get to the scene with her and Red Guardian, which was a lot of fun. We get to see he drives a limo now. And we get a good conversation between the two. This is where we get so do you feel fulfilled? So full, so filled. And then it's after that we move on to the scene that I really liked, because this is when our Thunderbolts assemble. Careful who you assemble. The Thunderbolts come together in this room because they're each trying to kill each other, which was really fun. Let me see if I remember this right. Yelena is tasked to kill Ghost. Ghost is tasked to kill Taskmaster. Taskmaster is tasked to kill John Walker. John Walker is tasked to kill Yelena. And then whoever's left alive gets burned by the incinerator. What a great plan, Valentina. And this is, of course, a room with all the evidence that connects her to the Sentray project, which we learn more about later. And this was a really fun fight scene, in my opinion. Seeing all the Thunderbolts battle it out was really enjoyable, and I thought some of the choreography was cool. But my favorite part about this entire fight scene was with the knife, where it kind of shows where it goes in order of them trying to kill each other. Because Yelena throws the knife at Ghost. Ghost phases through it and catches it, and then and then throws it at Taskmaster. Taskmaster uses her shield to bounces it away from her, and it goes towards John Walker. John Walker catches it and uses it to attack Yelena, but Yelena uses her Widow's Bite to hold him off. That scene made my jaw drop. I was like, whoa, that was like really cool. I don't know how they did that, but that was really cool. And they continue to fight, and this is where Taskmaster gets shot right in the head and dies. Going right into Taskmaster dying. Okay, I mean, let's be honest, we all knew Taskmaster was biting the dust in this movie due to the lack of her being in marketing. But I was not expecting her to die this way. I fully expected Sentray to be the one to kill her off, to establish, like, oh shoot, Sentray's a bad guy, he's a threat, he killed off one of our Thunderbolts, this guy is crazy, the stakes are high. No, that's not how she dies. She gets shot in the head by Ghost, a fellow Thunderbolt. Well, technically, actually, if you think about it, Taskmaster was never a Thunderbolt. She definitely ain't no new Avenger, because she didn't make it that far at all. But she didn't even make it to when they become Thunderbolts, because really they become the Thunderbolts, like, you could make the argument when they start working together they're Thunderbolts, but really they're Thunderbolts once Red Guardian comes and calls them Thunderbolts. But so really, Taskmaster's never really a part of the team like they advertise. She's just there, and she dies. So let's talk more about this. How I felt about Taskmaster getting killed like this. I'll tell you what. Before the Doomsday cast announcement, I was nervous that they were gonna try to make this a Suicide Squad and kill off a bunch of characters. And my thing was, I would be devastated if any of these characters died, except Taskmaster. Weirdly enough, Yelena, if she died, devastated. Red Guardian, he dies, devastated. Winter Soldier, he dies, devastated. John Walker dies, devastated. Ghost dies, devastated, which I think I'm one of the rare ones who would feel that way. Taskmaster dies, you know. Although I do think it was a bit of a missed opportunity, because I think they could have made Taskmaster like really cool in this movie. And they didn't, because she gets like a few minutes, one scene, one line, and that's it. She's dead. She's gone. Bye-bye. So, I didn't mind it. Like, to me, because it is Taskmaster, I was like, okay. Could it have been better? Probably. Was it bad? No, I wouldn't say that. So, you know. Then after Taskmaster's dead, that we find Bob. Nice to meet you, Bob. And they found out that they were tasked to kill each other, and Valentina De Fonte is planning to kill all of them. So they work together to get out. And what I like to point out here is when they find the device to shut down the Sonic stuff so that Ghost can get through the door. John Walker goes on your left, which is like, ha 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 ha, you think you're Captain America. And he breaks it, Ghost gets out, and then we have one of these moments. So, in my spoiler-free review, I discussed how, something I liked about this movie is that they're not afraid to dive into the dark topics, the dark themes about regret, loneliness, depression, suicide, a touch of substance abuse. This is where they kind of hint at the suicide, but they touch upon it just a bit, not enough to make kids question, wait, what is this about? So if you happen to take like teenagers who don't fully understand, it's okay. But for the adults that do know, they know. This is one of the moments where Taskmaster gets out. We're waiting for them. Did I say Taskmaster? Whoops, I meant Ghost. Ghost uses her phasing abilities to get through the door. We're waiting to see if she gets him out. The rest of the Thunderbolts, Yelena and John and Bob are like, oh shoot, she's probably not coming back. And Yelena, and the countdown's going. They're about to be incinerated. And Yelena just closes her eyes, takes a breath, and she looks at peace. She's not scared. She's not worried. She's not sad. She's at peace, as if she's okay with it. She's ready for it.
Where should I go for lunch?
And then the door opens. Ghost actually comes back. That's what I meant. This is what a little bit of them touching upon some of these darker topics. She was going to die, and she wasn't upset about it. So that's one of the times they touch upon that very dark topic, and I thought it was done so well. And then we move on. They keep continuing to try to escape, and we get this fun thing where they kind of form an asterisk as they try to climb up this tube wall thing, try to escape. And this is where we get another bit of hinting at this very dark themes, because once they are up the thing, so I didn't even talk about Bob yet. Bob when in the nightmares, so we'll talk about that quick before I get to my next thing. So Bob is there. First of all, Bob is awesome. I forgot to mention him in my spoiler-free review. Bob is awesome. I love Bob. Bob is so much fun. It's so funny that Lewis Pullman played Bob in Top Gun Maverick, and now he's playing Bob in Thunderbolts. So we all love Bob. Bob. Wait, we say Bob a lot. Anyway, I really like how they did his character, where he is really this like goofy, fun, very nice guy who has a dark side, and that we dive into that dark side with Sentray, mainly the Void. We'll talk more about that later. But when they first get out of that room that's on fire, Bob and Yelena touch hands. Yelena wakes up in a nightmare. We see this one of her biggest regrets, that being when she was a part of the Red Room. She's talked to this girl, Anya, I think is how you say her name. She draws Anya out into this like snowy forest. Young Yelena says, "I'm sorry." A guy comes up with a gun. It shows you Yelena's Florence Pugh's reaction as you hear the gun go off. You see the blood. You see the book that she was holding fall to the ground. And then Yelena looks over and sees Bob there. She's super confused. She wakes up. That was weird. Once again, touching on some of those darker topics of regret. And then, not knowing what's going on, they then move on. And then we get another thing where it happens with John Walker, where John Walker grabs Bob's hand to help him up. And John Walker gets this nightmare where we see him with scrolling on his phone, reading the story of him becoming Captain America, executing a flag smasher in public with the Captain America shield, and having the shield being taken away from him. And while he's supposed to be watching his kid, the wife comes in and isn't happy about it, and he's a jerk to her, again touching upon regret and pain. And then when he snaps out of it, again touching upon the dark topics of the Suicide Squad, he's at the very edge of the deep hole that they climbed out of, and if you fall down there, bye. And he stays there for a second, as if he's thinking about it. And then Yelena talks to him, and he turns back. He's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." Takes another second, looks down the hole, and then he walks away. Once again, we are touching upon these very, very dark topics, but in ways that, again, I don't think if younger people wouldn't know what's going on. They would just be like, "Oh yeah, he woke up from this nightmare and it was controlling him." But the people who are able to catch the dark topics are like, "Oof, that's oof." So yeah, that's some of the way they cover these dark topics, which is done really well. All right, now we can start talking about a bit more fun. Now we talk about the darkness, but this movie is also very, very fun with some hilarious moments and some fun action. First thing I do want to mention here, though, too, is was it just me, or did Bob and Yelena kind of seem to have some romantic chemistry? I don't know, maybe it was just me, but I don't know, the way they looked at each other, the way they talked to each other, the way their hands were touching, the way when Yelena got the nightmare, the way that Yelena's the one who's trying not to attack Bob, and Bob doesn't want to attack her, and their connection, I don't know, there's something felt, I don't know, maybe it's just that Florence Pugh and Lewis Pullman have like fantastic chemistry when they act together, so that could be all it is. But to me, I was like, I'm feeling a bit more tension here. I don't know, maybe that was just me, maybe no one else noticed it. I know some people I watched it with also noticed it too, so I'm at least not completely alone. You have to let me know if you noticed it too in the comments. All right, continuing on. This is where they make their escape. One of the scenes that made me laugh out the hardest was when they were trying to when they were in disguises and they were leave. The one guard stops him. Is like, identify yourselves. And John Walker just looks at him. Music swells. John Walker, when music goes out, no. To me, that was hilarious. I died. That was, I laughed. I thought that was hilarious. And then Bob distracts the guards by shooting the gun up in the air. The guards shoot him up. Oh no, Bob's dead. Just kidding. Bob's alive because now they've awakened the Sentry, where he stands up after being shot a whole bunch of times, not even phased, and then he flies up and then he crashes down so Valentina is able to get her hands on him. That sounded sus. Moving on from that, the Thunderbolts are able to get away. They get into this desert area. They're talking. They fire shots back and forth too, which are kind of funny, like at John Walker. By the way, just thought I'd point that out, like calling him the dime store Captain America. It'd be like, I was official Captain America, you know, for like 2 seconds. All that, I found that a bunch of fun. But back to the scene that we're talking about, when Red Guardian shows up and he's just honking and screaming, Yelena! Yelena is embarrassed. She covers her face. Red Guardian continues, Yelena, it's your dad! Don't go into the vault. Valentina's going to burn you. It was hilarious. And then they all get in the limo together, they're driving away. And this was just such a fun scene, seeing everybody here interacting. Red Guardian be like, John Walker is so cool. Ghost's so cool. Was fun. And they even bring up why they're called the Thunderbolts for a short amount of time. Because they do explain that Yelena was previously, when she was a kid, on a soccer team that never won. They lost every game, and they were called the Thunderbolts. I forget who the sponsor was. I know Red Guardian wouldn't like that, but I did. I'm sorry, Red Guardian. Please forgive me. She was the team, the Thunderbolts, and I remember when Red Guardian in the limo is like, you guys, this is a making of team. And John Walker, this moment made me laugh so loud in the theater. Nobody else in the theater laughed. But John Walker goes, yeah, go Thunderbolts, so sarcastically. And I died again. It was hilarious. No one else laughed in the theater. At least the second viewing. I saw this twice. Once in IMAX, once in Dolby. I can't remember the first screen, to be honest with you, but my second go around, I was the only one in the theater who laughed at that. The go Thunderbolts. And then Red Guardian looks over at Yelena like, you told them about your soccer team? And then this is where they're officially called, at least by Red Guardian, the Thunderbolts. So I thought it was very fun too, also that they did come up with a name. Like, it wasn't just out of nowhere, like, wait, why are they called the Thunderbolts? Now, obviously, the asterisks and, yeah, blah, blah, blah. But still, even in the trailers, we saw Red Guardian be like, we're the Thunderbolts! And it's just like, wait. But this has no connection to General Thunderbolt Ross, Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross. I'm pretty sure it's that way in the comics. I'll admit, I have not read very many Thunderbolts comics. Like, I knew who they were, but I didn't read too many of the comic runs. But it was fun to see that they actually got their name from something, and it wasn't just like, oh, it's a name from comic books, and they just somehow come up with it. So and I thought it was a very fun way to bring it up. Then we got this really cool action car scene where the what are they called? What's the organization? Ox, I think. Ox shows up in a bunch of cars. They're chasing after them, try to fight them off. Red Guardian lights a cocktail, takes a drink of it first, throws it back, lights the car on fire, and then it goes out immediately. Yelena goes to shoot the vehicle. She shoots it with her tiny little pistol, and then it full-on explodes. Like, wait, what? What's going on here? And then Bucky comes in with one of the coolest entrances, like, ever. Like, he looked awesome. The way the music worked and the way they revealed him, it was just, like, so cool. To me, it felt like a very clap-worthy moment, but nobody in the theater clapped either time I saw it, so slackers. Come on. We need to be better as an audience. Not Minecraft levels. I know how that was going with some of the Minecraft screenings. That's too much. But come on, an epic entrance like that, we should have been clapping. But, whatever. I think it's really fun when that stuff happens in theaters, but that might just be me. Bucky comes in. We have this awesome fight scene where he takes out the machines, and we get this thing where even John Walker is like, "Yeah, Bucky!" And then Bucky shoots what would it call, a mine onto the limo, and and Walker's like, "Ah!" And then it blows up, cutting him off, and it's just like that was funny. That made me laugh. And not to mention, that was just a fun scene in general. So something I also wrote in my notes too, that I noticed, I forgot to mention, this is when they're still in the limo. But so previously during their talk, when Yelena went to talk to Red Guardian, he was like, "Yeah, there's a light inside you. It used to be bright. It's kind of dimmed recently, but it could be bright again," and stuff like. I don't remember the exact wording, but then we're in the limo here, and he's saying how they're a team, and Yelena's like, "No, we are not a team. We're not friends. We are not a team." And Red Guardian just goes, "Well, whatever you are, the light inside you is much brighter." And the way that how Yelena reacted, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, she doesn't go like, whatever, you're crazy. No, you're wrong. I don't know what you're talking about, or anything like that. She just stays quiet, turns away, looks out the window. I don't know, just something about that reaction to me. It just felt like she's like, "Dang it, he's right," without saying it. Like, it's just, I might be the only one. I don't think I heard anybody else talk about this, but maybe it's just like my interpretation. But the way she like turned, ignored him, and just looked out the window, it kind of felt like she, in her mind, she was just going, "Dang it, he's right." But she doesn't want. But obviously, she's not gonna say that. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Something I wrote down in my notes is something that I noticed, and I was like, I gotta bring this up before we get too far. All right. So after that, we move on to Bucky has the Thunderbolts captured, and he's saying how they're gonna help testify to get Yelena. Oh, not yeah. I'm getting names messed up now. Valentina impeached, and also hopefully in prison. And the Thunderbolts are like, "Well, you gotta be careful because she's got Bob. Bob is from the Sentray project, and he's very, very dangerous." And Bucky's like, yeah, whatever, super dangerous, got it. And then he gets a call from Valentina's assistant, who's like, "Yo, we gotta be careful. She's with Bob. He's also now the Sentray, and he's super dangerous." Bucky's like, "Huh, okay." And I just love the Thunderbolts' reaction to it. It's like, "Bob!" That was really fun. And then this is where we get to see some bad guys are gonna go do some good things. Well, I mean, I guess they're not all really bad. Are they really bad guys? Well, I mean, I guess technically they're all bad guys, except for maybe Red Guardian. But then again, he was in prison when we met him in Black Widow, so I don't know. But bad guys about to go do some good things, which is one of my favorite. It's so much fun to see that. I mentioned this in my spoiler-free review. I really enjoy stories about redemption. I really enjoy stories about bad guys doing good things. I just find it to be a blast. And I really like stories about groups of people who hate each other, who become a family. That's always fun. That's one of the reasons why I was so excited for this, because it's all that. Plus, I actually liked all the characters before this movie, except for Taskmaster. So that's why one of the reasons I was super psyched for this movie. And now they're officially going to go do some good things. Hopefully. They're going to go save the world. Kinda. So then the Thunderbolts, they go, and they're going after Valentina. I love this part too, where it's like, Red Guardian's like, "So what's the plan?" And Bucky goes, "Plan?" And then we just see him, he crashes into the bottom floor of the Avengers towers, now the Watchtower, because now it's owned by Valentina. And they just start beating guys up, and Valentina over the speaker's like, "I just had that Jawa put on it, and the door's unlocked. Come on up." I just love, they just did this so perfectly, where they like paused as she talked, and then they paused a little bit after she talked, and then Bucky considers to headbutt the guy who was holding on to knock him unconscious, and then they go up. That was fun. And then we are introduced to the Sentray in the full-on comic accurate suit, which was really cool to see. And we see how powerful Sentray is, and how the Thunderbolts have absolutely zero chance of ever beating the Sentray. Yelena said it earlier in the movie. What? So we all just punch and shoot? So people who punch and shoot versus Marvel's Superman. Who you think's winning that fight? If you said the people who punch and shoot, you'd be. No, I'm just kidding. I'm joking. The correct answer, of course, is Groot. But no, in all seriousness, obviously people who punch you aren't going to defeat Superman, aka, well, Sentry, you know what I mean. And we see that too. They all get beat up. Even Bucky, who is the most experienced out of all of them, and he even gets this like really cool moment where he's the guy who gets up, tears the shirt off. He goes to battle. It's like, to me, they played off to us this like really epic moment, like, oh no, everybody's down. Oh wait, there's Bucky. He's getting up. Here we go. This is the heroic moment for Bucky, and then he gets knocked out. And his metal arm torn off. So they really established like they didn't even put up a good fight. So like it was believable, and it made the stakes feel high. Like, what are they going to do against the Sentry? Nothing. They retreat down the elevator, and Sentry realizes, wait, I'm this powerful. Why am I listening to someone who doesn't even punch and shoot? Okay, she probably shoots, but she doesn't really punch. She mainly manipulates. So why is he listening to her? Then her assistant comes in with the kill switch before Sentry's able to do anything to Valentina. But he's not dead. Instead, the Void takes over completely. I really like how they did the Void. I think his design was really good, where it's literally complete shadow, except for very tiny little white light dots as his eyes. Nice and creepy, but also not like super duper creepy. And just as much darkness as possible. I thought was done really well. And then this is where we move on to the Thunderbolts are down. They're talking. Red Guardian's like, well, we just got to regroup, replan, go back in there. We got this. We're the Thunderbolts. But everybody, Yelena mainly, is like, no, we suck. We cannot defeat Sentry. We might as well give up. We're a bunch of losers. And there's this funny reaction with Ghost where Ghost is like, well, I'm pretty sure I still did much better than you. And she's like, Ava, you're not a hero. You're not even a good person. Ghost calls her a name I'm not gonna say on YouTube, and and Yelena's like, yeah, my point exactly. And I love too. I noticed, and when she's going like, we all suck, the one extra who walked past in the background just gives her like a funny look, like, what in the world are you talking about? That was funny. I don't know if that was I don't know if the extra was just did that because, or if the director told her to. Whoever made that decision, great decision. That was hilarious. I loved it, and my theater laughed both times that it happened. So great on whoever's decision that was, whether it was the actor who was the extra or was the director. And then what also, Yelena's just going off on everybody. When John Walker is the one who's like, yo, calm down. And then Yelena's like, oh, so now you're nice now all of a sudden? And John Walker's like, oh, so it's my turn now? And Yelena's like, oh, no, you know you're trash, Walker, and so did your family. And that made my audience, the second time especially, just go, oh, like, they react. One of the best things about going to the theater, guys, this one of my favorite things ever, going in a packed theater, is hearing that reaction. That made it so much better. The ohs that came out of the audience when Yelena said that. And guess some context, they did reveal that Walker's wife and son did leave him. But you probably knew that, you watched the movie. But still, that saying when she says that, the whole audience was like, oh, snap. Probably the meanest thing in this entire movie. We have a bunch of bad people in this movie, and yet Yelena probably being the most likable out of them all. And she's the one who lets out probably the meanest line in this entire movie. But really, it's also to John Walker, so it's one of those things that it's like he can take it. He's all right. Because like if she said it to like that line that means to like Red Guardian or Bucky or even Ghost, who actually doesn't who isn't like as bad of a person aside from, I guess, killing some people, I guess, whatever. If she said it to someone else, it probably would be a bit more like, dang, Yelena, my gosh, maybe you are a villain. But with Walker, because he is such a jerk like the entire movie, which it's kind of like, ooh, but yeah, he's the guy who can take it. Although, speaking of John Walker being a jerk the entire movie, I did not know it was possible to make a character a jerk, but also just like so likable. Like, John Walker is a jerk this entire movie, but I love his character. Like, I don't know how they did this, how they made a character a jerk, but make me like them. Because oftentimes whenever a character is such a jerk in anything, it's just like, I hate that character, I want something bad to happen to that character, my gosh. But somehow they just find this perfect balance with John Walker. Maybe it's his comedic moments, maybe it's the fact that deep down we do know that he does have a good heart. We see him saving people later on in the film, which we'll get to. So maybe that's what helps redeem him and makes me like him so much. But it just surprises me that he's a jerk pretty much this entire movie, but I still love him and his character. Wyatt Russell, amazing job playing the character, by the way. The entire cast is amazing in this movie. They do such a great job. We're going to get to Yelena and Florence Pugh and David Harbour in a minute, because they have something amazing performance later. But yeah, then they pretty much all go off in their separate ways. This is like the, oh shoot, the team's breaking up type of moment that I feel like we do see a lot in team movies, where it's like, oh, team fought, they're splitting up. I feel like we see that a lot, but that's okay. Red Guardian goes to talk to Yelena. Another one of my favorite scenes, their discussion. First of all, this is one of the things where it's like, Florence Pugh, David Harbour. Oh my gosh. They put it, especially David Harbour, because David Harbour is funny this entire movie. And heck, even most of Black Widow, he's mainly funny. And then he gets this like really serious, emotional scene that plays out without being broken up by a joke. And even Florence Pugh has a bunch of like comedic moments. And this talk is just so emotional. You can see it on their faces. This talk between them, how Florence Pugh, Yelena Belova explains how she is so alone and depressed. Her everyday life is scroll her phone, think about her past and regret it, go to work, do some bad things at work, come home, drink till she falls asleep, wake up, do the same thing over every day with nobody, no friends, no family, no one, not even a pet. Which, I mean, come on, Yelena, you should have gotten a dog or something. Dogs are awesome. Get a dog. But then again, her job, she probably couldn't. That'd be very hard to take care of a dog. Get a, I don't know. What's a pet that you don't need to take too much care of? A cat? I'm sorry, that was mean. I'm sorry, cat lovers. A lizard? I don't know. But still, she's explaining this to Red Guardian. Red Guardian's like, and she's like, why weren't you there? You disappeared after my sister died and I needed you. And he explains how I didn't think you'd want me. And it's just, and then he talks about how he brings up, like, do you know why you wanted to be a goalie for your soccer team? We do get this comedic moment. To me, it doesn't break up the tension or emotion, just because it is something that, like, I probably would say in this situation, and I feel like a bunch of people would like bring up. And Yelena's like, oh, so I don't have to run as much. Red Guardian lets out a chuckle, and then he goes, probably that too, but you told me you wanted to be the person that the whole team can rely on when they make a mistake. First of all, that line, oh my gosh, that's good. That was good. I played some soccer too. Like, I never even thought of it that way. As someone who has played soccer, never thought of it that way. That's brilliant. Wow. Bravo. Bravo. I'm clapping. I don't think you can hear it. Bravo. That was awesome. I loved it. And then Yelena, it just goes, okay, that was really good. One of my favorite scenes in this entire movie. Wow. That was good. Like Yelena said, that was good. All right, and then the void comes down. He makes a couple of people vanish into the void, causing this helicopter to crash down into this crane, which is crashed down. There's a bunch of destruction, and this is when the Thunderbolts go to work. So we go right into one of my favorite scenes ever in this movie, to another one of my favorite scenes ever in this movie. Maybe one of my favorite scenes in the MCU, I don't know. Where it's just the Thunderbolts being heroes and saving people. These bad people are doing good things. We see Red Guardian catching this piece of debris and protecting civilians. Yelena goes out there and saves civilians, and then Bucky shows up. This truck's about to hit an elderly couple. Bucky gets in the way and he knocks the truck out of the way. The helicopter's about to hit a person. Ghost phases in, catches the person, gets him out of the way, phases out. And this big piece of rock is about to fall on people. John Walker catches it, saving this lady, and then the entire Thunderbolts team come together to push the piece of rubble over. One of my favorite scenes ever. It was so fun. I had the biggest smile on my face during the scene. There's just something so great about just seeing people save people is fun, especially when it's bad people. I may or may not have felt tears. No, they didn't come out, but I could definitely feel them during this scene, because it's just, especially because, like I said, John Walker's been a jerk this entire movie, and here he is putting his life on the line, saving civilians. It's just awesome. And then, and then we get this moment too that some people laughed at, some people gasped at, where a piece of debris about to fall on this little girl. Red Guardian, knowing that he can take it, covers the little girl. It hits him instead. It breaks. It doesn't affect him. The little girl is okay. We also, before this, we do get a moment where the civilians now safe, clap and cheer for the Thunderbolts. And Valentina notices. She looks around and she's like, oh, would you look at this? People are clapping. That's going to be important later. And then we get back to Red Guardian saving this little girl. He's like, don't worry, you're safe now. And then whoosh! Bye-bye, little girl. Shadow. This was a scene too that I won't lie. It may have made me chuckle. But my theater got mixed reactions. Some people laughed, some people were like, oh, it was a bit of a mix. Both times, by the way, both times. So, I don't know if it was supposed to be a gasp moment, like, oh my gosh, what? Or if it was supposed to be a dark humor moment. I don't know. I think they were going for more of a shock type thing. But it kind of played off as either or, depending on your type of humor, I guess. So that happened, and the Void is taking over the entire New York City. Everybody's being banished turned into a shadow. The Thunderbolts are trying to get away and trying to get civilians away, and Yelena's like, no, I know how to face this thing. We gotta go get Bob. Bob is in there. We have to save Bob. She walks into the shadows and becomes a shadow. Red Guardian's reaction to this, by the way, is just so well done, with David Harbour looking absolutely heartbroken, screaming, but the Thunderbolts are holding him back because they don't know what's happening. Maybe they don't know if you're going into shadows, or maybe you're just full-on dying. For all they know, Yelena's dead for good. Bye-bye, never going to be seen again, just like the little girl. But then when we do catch up with Yelena, we find out, no, they're not dead, but they're trapped in their worst moment, the moment they hate the most. Yelena is trapped in the scene that we saw earlier, where she helped the guy kill this little girl from the Red Room. And it was... We get to with this, she finds out how to get through, she breaks through. We get another, like, very dark, heartbreaking scene where we get to see a little bit more of the Red Room, because even in the Black Widow movie, I wish we could have seen more of the Red Room. And I feel like in this scene we kind of did, because we get this very dark scene of Yelena's backstory, where her and a bunch of other girls in the Red Room are loading a gun. Yelena finishes first, so they're told to stop. Yelena gets up, and and then the girl gets the whip out. And you could probably tell what happens, and then you know what happens next. You saw the movie. That's very dark. As Yelena, we only see Yelena, so we don't see it. Yelena covers the fake illusion of her eyes and ears. That way she doesn't have to look or see it. And then she sees Bob in the mirror. She looks behind her. No Bob. She's like, there you are. She takes a gun. She shoots the mirror. She goes through. She's now in a room with her, passed out drunk on the bathroom floor, surrounded by bottles. Once again, this is where, to me, they're touching upon I've mentioned the substance abuse. They're touching upon it here. Again, it's not a lot, but it's very obvious that Yelena had at least to me, it was obvious that Yelena had an alcohol problem. Because it was how she dealt with her depression, and, well, that's not really what you should be doing. And she regrets it. She's like, oh, this is horrible. They have this jump scare where the passed out Yelena just wakes up out of nowhere and grabs the real Yelena, which was like, oh, that was not expecting that. And then she sees Bob in the mirror again. She's like, I want to talk to you about what we talked about earlier. She walks, she's able to get to Bob, and we have this really nice conversation where she calls back to what her and Bob talked about earlier in the vault, where originally she was like, we all have that darkness and those negative feelings. You just have to push it down. And she's like, I was wrong when I said that. You can't just push it down. You have to be with others to help you through it. And Bob's like, how do you know? How do you know it makes you feel better? And Yelena's like, I already do. Wow. Okay. Not expecting that. Not expecting those emotions there. We get to see a bit of Bob's backstory too, where we hear a bunch of commotion. They look down, they're in the attic. Down is the kitchen with young Bob and his parents. And oh my goodness, Marvel. What is it with you making me feel feelings? My gosh. His dad's a jerk, raises his hand to his mother and Bob as a kid. And Yelena's like, I'm sorry. And then they're like, all right, we gotta get out of here. Then the Void has the room start attacking them, and they're getting caught. They're being choked out by the curtain. But then all of a sudden, here come the Thunderbolts with Ghost cutting the curtain. The Thunderbolts taking out the stuff that's trying to kill them. And we get this fun line where it's like, oh my goodness, are you guys... Whoops, I probably pushed the map button. Are you guys okay? That we see some dark stuff. Bucky, and everybody's like, that was crazy. Bucky goes, well, I have a great past, so obviously it was fine for me, or something like that. I'm misquoting him, which was hilarious, because as we all know, Winter Soldier, he probably saw some messed up stuff. Poor Bucky. So this is one thing that to me was a little disappointing. I personally would have liked to see all of the Thunderbolts as nightmares, just because I'm a terrible person, I guess. I don't know. Would have liked to see Ghost Nightmare. Would have liked to see Bucky's, Red Guardians, John Walker's. Granted, okay, we did already see John Walker's, and we do know Bucky and Ghost past, but still, I think it could have been very interesting. I'm not mad about it. I get it. I understand it would have messed with the pacing of the film, so I'm not too upset about it. It's just something I would have liked. But yeah, they try to get out. They go through a bunch of these dark rooms, including Bob in a chicken suit from when he was doing drugs. That was funny, seeing Bucky just knock it out. That was funny. And then we get the part where they find the Void, just this black, covered in darkness, the Void. It is, and they go to take him on. The Void traps all the Thunderbolts but Bob, and it's up to Bob to save the day. He's fighting the Void. They're fighting. The Void gets the upper hand, but then Bob gets the upper hand. But then the Thunderbolts realize, oh no, this is what the Void wants. Because Bob gets on top of the Void and starts grounding, pounding, beating on the Void like there's no tomorrow, with the Void just laughing. And we actually see like this thin, evil smile as he laughs at Bob punching him in the face. And and the darkness starts covering Bob. Yelena's like, no, this is what the Void wants. So we get this really cool scene where Yelena's finally able to break free. She dodges a bunch of stuff flying at her, and then she hugs on the Bob, and then and each Thunderbolt, one by one, breaks free and hugs Bob, stopping him. And it flashes them out of the Void. I loved this scene so much. It shows you how good you could do with something that could be kind of cringy. Because if you think about it, how did they solve the problem? How did they beat the bad guys? With the power of friendship. That's how they win. The Thunderbolts win with the power of friendship and a big ol' group hug to save the day. That's so cringe. That's so cheesy and goofy. But somehow the movie is able to do it in this way that's actually emotional. Like, I felt tears again. This movie has made me, like, I could feel it. I could feel tears. But they never actually came out, so it wasn't quite emotional enough. But I could feel it. This is one of those moments, especially because they each did it one by one, showing how much they care about each other now. And man, I loved it. I thought this scene was so good, despite the fact that it could have been so corny, and somehow they did it so good. So good job, guys. You made the power of friendship cool. How did you do that? I have no idea, but good job. All right. Dude, I've been talking forever. I might cut some of this out because I've been talking forever. Let's keep going. Hurry up. They get out. They're about to go take on Valentina. I'm trying to speed up here. Valentina's like, wait. She's able to trick them into going past the curtain where there's a bunch of press people. And this is where we find out what the asterisk is for, because Valentina is like, I'd like to introduce to you the new Avengers. And she, of course, takes full credit, saying that she purposely assembled them. You're a liar. And the movie ends. Credits. Wow. The new Avengers. we get to see during the first part of credits, we get to see a bunch of news people about. Some people are like, "What? Not not my Avengers, the B-Vengers. I'm okay with it. Heard around the world." A bunch of other stuff, which is really cool. And then we get to see the title, "The Thunderbolts." Scratch it out, the new Avengers. That's cool. Personally, I'm okay with this. I think people have been mixed feelings on it. I'm okay with it. You know, they're the new Avengers. Fine. Oh, we get the we do get the mid-credit scene. That's hilarious with Red Guardian in the store being like, what, so many choices, how about Wheaties? And he shows the box has the new Avengers on it, and he puts it up to his face. The lady's like, oh, thanks. She takes it just to put it down and keeps walking. And Red Guardian's like, that's beyond the box, by the way. More credits. That was funny. I found that fun. And then the end credit scene. We get more context. They've been the new Avengers for a while. Sam is not happy about it. Bucky talked to Sam. Apparently it didn't go well. Apparently there's some space issues going on. We look at satellites. A ship is entering the atmosphere. The ship turns over. We see the Fantastic Four's logo and hear the Fantastic Four music. The end. The new Avengers and Bob will return. I'm sorry, I'm quick going over this probably too quickly, but there's so much to talk about, and I'm talked for way too long already. My thoughts, let's see. I'm okay with them being the new Avengers. I'm very curious as to where this is going to go, especially because it sounds like Sam is still going to do his own Avengers. So, are we going to have maybe 3 different teams? The Avengers led by Sam, the new Avengers we just saw, maybe even the young Avengers, because Miss Marvel is bringing together her own group of heroes with Kate Bishop. What the heck are we doing with that, if anything? Where is this going? I had the question, if we ever get a sequel to this movie, is it going to be called Thunderbolts Asterisk 2? The New Avengers 2? Or just The New Avengers? Or maybe they're not going to ever give us a sequel, which I would be kind of sad if we don't ever get a sequel. But it also depends on if they survive Doomsday and Secret Wars, because they could make me very sad and kill them all off within Doomsday and Secret Wars, which would make me very, very sad. I'm so scared that they're going to kill off a bunch of these people in one of the 2, which, no, but it might happen. So with the asterisks, I was kind of right, kind of wrong. I mean, everybody, let's be honest, everybody was guessing that the new title would be The Dark Avengers. Me personally, I kind of felt like they're just going to call it Avengers, like no like extra thing, like they're going to be like The Avengers. So I was technically wrong, but also kind of right, because it ended up being The New Avengers. So, you know. But yeah, I'm very curious as to where this could lead. Like I said, I'm okay with The New Avengers. Although I want to talk about something. I've noticed that not even a week after the movie released, Marvel has been changing everything on the internet, actual posters in theaters, that to say The New Avengers. I think it's a bad call to do it so soon. I personally think they should have waited till at least 2 full weeks, just because I think it is really cool to see it actually in person in the theater, to see the name change instead of just seeing it. It's kind of a cool marketing thing, but it's way too soon for it. Because I know someone who doesn't want to know what the asterisks for, but they haven't gotten to see the movie yet, so they're trying to avoid it. I'm not sure if they'll be able to. But yeah, so I don't know. But yeah, so I guess the movie's technically called The New Avengers now, not The Thunderbolts. But yeah, alright, so I've been talking for way too long. Thank you guys so much for taking time to watch this very long video. If you like this video, please hit like. If you want to see more videos like this, please hit the subscribe button so you can see more. Check out my spoiler-free review, a bunch of other stuff. I'm talking. Yeah, shut up, bro. I'm going to try to shut up now. Please watch my other stuff. Please subscribe. Thanks. Tell me all of your spoilery thoughts of the Thunderbolts down in the comments. Bye.